Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. Today is Monday, September 11th, 2017, and I just want to share a few dreams in which I received. This was like maybe over the past 2 months, and I haven't been sharing any of my dreams because, for one, the Lord has been working with me, in a different area, as well as I just didn't feel led to share it, so. Now today for some reason, I woke up and I was, just worshiping and spending time with the Lord. And, He kind of put it in my spirit to share some of these dreams. So um, I'll try and share them. Now, I didn't write them down, so this is all just from memory. So I will start with the last one, or the first one I received, which was like 5 weeks ago, more or less 5 or 6 weeks ago, something like that. And in this dream, um, I remember looking up, and I knew I couldn't see God the Father, but I knew He was there. So it was like I knew His presence was there, and I remember saying to Him, don't release it or don't. I knew He was holding something back. So that's how it started. I knew that He was holding back something. So it started with me looking up first. Like I said, I didn't see Him, but I felt His presence. And then I knew He was holding something back. And I think I said, like, no, Father, don't release it. It was something along those lines. And then the dream shifted where I turned and I looked to the left, and then in the left it was like this field, and in the field there was like a cage. I remember seeing this cage, and I look in and I remember seeing like it was like a really, really dark presence, and it just had eyes, but I knew it was Satan inside of the cage. It was like Satan or the spirit of him. So as soon as I got close to him, it was like really, really evil. The best way to explain the presence, how it felt, was like, imagine you hate someone. Like, it's hard to explain in words, but imagine like you have this enemy, right? Someone you don't really like, or of someone that it's hard to put into words, but yeah, someone you hate. That's the best way to explain it. If there's anyone that you hate, but times up by like 1,000. It was like real intense, like real, real evil. It felt like he hated everything about me. And it wasn't just me. He hated. I could feel his presence. And he hated everything around. It was just real heavy, like evil. It was like if you could put the feeling of you hate someone, you want to murder, you want to the worst of every feeling, every emotion, times like 1,000. And I could feel that coming from this cage, and the cage was like rattling a lot. And it was just really, really evil, evil, evil presence. That's the best way to explain it. And I felt that. And then I remember saying, Father, don't release it. So I knew God in my mind at the time. I remember thinking, like, I knew God was holding it back. And then that was it. It was just a real short dream. So that was like the furthest one back. And then last week I had another dream. This one was at a bridal shower. I knew that we were preparing for a bridal shower at a wedding or something. So we were doing the rehearsals, our bridal rehearsal or something like that. And then in this dream, like I've had dreams in the past that I know are from God. Like I wouldn't say all of them, but there's been a few dreams back basically where my mother and my sister are in a dream. Like I shared a dream. This was like I think maybe like 2 months ago, 2.5, maybe 3 months ago, where the Lord allowed me to feel. I asked the Lord to show me how far we were away from the rapture, and then He showed me. And in that dream, my mother and my sister was in it, as well as another dream. So This was another dream in which the Lord showed me my mother and sister was in it, which, represents in all of the dreams that He allows me, or he places my mother and sister in it. In these dreams, they represent the bride of Christ, my brothers and sisters in Christ. So they represent the family of God. And so, yeah, in this one, my mother and sister were sitting down, and I just felt like a real heavy emotion, but I knew it was like I could feel the emotions of Jesus. And I started to cry because I felt like the feeling that I had inside of me while we were at this bridal shower, we were sitting there, and my mother and sister were sitting down, and I just look at them. I think I was explaining something to them, and I just look at them and I started to cry because I could feel this feeling inside me. And it was like a real heavy feeling of Him wanting to be with us. He loves us so much. That's the word. That's the first words that came out of my mouth. I cried because of the emotions that I felt inside, and I looked at my sister and my mother, and I said, "He loves us so much." But the feeling that I had inside of me was like, He loves us more than He loves us, and He wants to be with us more than we want to leave and be with Him. It was like so intense that it made me cry because it was like He allowed me to feel that, like how much He loves us. And I started to cry from the emotions, and I was crying, and then like it was like heavy crying, like when you're heavy crying, you're like trying to catch your breath and pull up. And I look at my sister and mother, and I was in tears, and I was like, He loves us so much. He loves us so, so much. And then I woke up from that one. But the feeling, the presence of God was so intense in that. And the feeling that I got was like he just wants to be with us so bad. It was incredible. It's so amazing to know that we love Him and we want to be with Him, but it's nothing compared to how much He wants to be with us and how much He loves us more. And I find that so amazing because it's hard to believe that the creator of everything, the King of heaven, our Father, our creator, loves each one of us so much that it brings him. It was like I could feel Him crying inside of me. I could feel Him crying inside, that it brings Him to tears, that He wants to be with us so much more, that He loves us so much more. That's just hard to believe. So that one was last week. And then I had one yesterday morning. And this one I was in a mall. And again, my mother and sister was in there. So I knew this represented the bride of Christ, our brothers and sisters. And I was in a shopping mall. I was doing shopping. And it was like we were the last ones inside of the mall. And I knew it was late. I knew it was getting dark. And everything was closing. So everything was like really late. Everything was closing. So we went out to the parking lot. We were rushing to try and exit before the last gate was closed. So I was driving in a car, and we went past a few different exits. So it was like the parking lot was like the ones you can go through. It has maybe 5 or 6 different exits to this parking lot. So we kept driving around in circles looking for an exit, and each exit that we got to was closed because the time was so late. So we were rushing to try and find at least one more exit so that we could try and drive out. And we were driving past, like I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 exits. And then that was it. Like we knew that, okay, everything is closed. Like we locked in. So we parked the car, and then we decided to go down like the fire escape because we were levels up. So we were higher up in different levels. And we knew that, okay, we couldn't leave from the parking, but we need to get out of here. So we decided to take the fire exit and walk down the stairs. But when I came out of the car, instantly, like I had on like like a helmet. Like it wasn't so much military gear, but I had a gun in my hand and I had a helmet on my head, and we were coming down. And as we came down, I think my sister and my mother had a few bags in their hand. So we were coming down, we came all the way down the stairs, and then right before we exit, there was a corridor. I think it was like 4 or 5 doors in this corridor, and I didn't know which one to go to. So I went straight, and as I started to go straight to the end, like I started to feel like a real kind of eerie feeling, like real. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew there was something. It got like quiet. I knew there was something, some kind of surprise or something waiting behind the door. So when I was about to go open the last door, right as I was opening it, I heard like a loud, like clap. Like the only way you could explain it was like a really loud clap, really, really loud. And I looked behind me, and my sister and mother had disappeared. And when they disappeared, I knew in my mind that was the rapture. As I turned back around, there was a lady standing in front of me. And she represented, I knew I got in my spirit that she represented the government. And she started to come out in front of me. And then that was it. I woke up. So with that dream, I know, like I said, my mother and sister represent my brothers and sisters in Christ, the true bride of Christ. And what I got from it was the shopping mall represents the world. I knew that the time was late, and we were trying to leave this world, but the time was so late that all of the exits were closing, all of them were closing. And then I know dream-wise, car represents your ministry. So we were driving around in the ministry trying to leave. And then when we came out of the car, we took like the fire exit, the only last exit that we could take. And then when we came down, with the military gear, I kind of feel the feeling that I got from it, or what I interpreted is comparing it to now with the spiritual realm, because I was telling my partner the other day, just yesterday, I was telling him like, I feel like we're coming under such heavy spiritual attack, like something changing in the spirit, like you can feel it, that we're coming under heavy spiritual attack because, the time is at hand. The devil knows that his time is close, so I feel like he's just fighting real hard. So I feel that symbolizes that we are coming under spiritual attack, and we need to put on the armor more. We have to have on the armor of God, the full armor of God. And as I came down, I was just about to leave. We made our way down, and right when I was about to leave, the rapture took place, and then a door opened right then, and the government came in. I know this lady, it was a blonde lady, and she represented the government. Like I got that instantly in my spirit, So I feel that as a rapture takes place, then the government gonna step in really quick, and they're gonna try to cover it up. So that's the interpretation I got. But the fact that we were at the very bottom of the stairs, I was about to open the door to exit. I kind of feel that symbolizes how close we are, I'm not sure, but that's my interpretation of it. And that's just a few dreams that I had over, the past, like I said, 5-6 weeks or so. And, compared to the past, a lot of my dreams have slowed down. So I haven't really been sharing anything, and looking out there from people who used to receive a lot of dreams, just like I used to receive more dreams. Everything is stopping, and the Lord showed me before. I shared in another video where our ministry is coming to an end, so I think we are just in the final moments before, going home, before the rapture takes place. But I just wanted to share, one more thing. I had a dream ages ago. I shared it in another video. I didn't share the dream, but I mentioned that I had received a Day of the Lord dream. And at the time, I didn't share it because I didn't receive confirmation, but I knew it was from God. And I knew that it was a Day of the Lord dream. So I think it was a few days ago, maybe like 4 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. I was sharing a post on Facebook, and then I received some comments from it, and then in response to it, something told me in my spirit, like I could just feel it. I don't know why, but I just wrote on this, which was because the hurricanes that took place, I knew that there would be an earthquake next. So for some reason, I shared that. I don't know where it came from. Obviously, it was the Holy Spirit, but at the time, it was like he just led me to write that down and share it. So in one of the comments to this post, I wrote that many people don't believe what's happening, but we're in the end. And then this earthquake or these hurricanes, after that will be an earthquake. So I hope that after the earthquake, people will believe and they will bring their life to Christ. And then the very next day, like not even 24 hours, there was an earthquake in Mexico. And though this wasn't the earthquake that God showed me, it was kind of like confirmation. And it was like such a coincidence that happened. Well, not a coincidence, but it was too much to be a coincidence that I knew that this was a confirmation to what God was showing me before. So I'll share a piece of that dream now. But like I said before, I didn't share it because I didn't feel led to share it and I didn't receive a confirmation, So in this dream, I knew when I woke up, I knew so heavy in my spirit that this was a Day of the Lord dream. And the Lord allowed me to see and feel there's an earthquake that's gonna happen. And I remember in the dream, looking to the right. I look up like on this hill towards the right, and there's this big house. But the way the house was located, I knew that it should have been lower. So the road actually, the earthquake was so heavy that the road separated and the house was like up here. And then the roads were down here, and the road was split all the way open, all the way down. It was a split, and I could look into it. I could look into the earth. But before that happened, I was like, it was like I was there, feeling it and experiencing it because I could feel everything shaking, like real heavy. So I could feel it shaking. I could feel the fear. There was people running around, people screaming. But I was just looking at the earthquake, but I knew that there were other things happening also at the same time because I remember seeing that, and then there was other things that were taking place. And like I said, I didn't write this down, so there's a few things which I know I'm missing from it. But I knew that there was like so much chaos going on. So there were people screaming, there was people running. But the most vivid thing that stuck out to me was, seeing this house up here, and then the house was split in two, and then looking to the left, there's the road. The road was split all the way down, and then just feeling the shaking in it, and it was just so heavy. It was so heavy, and yeah, so I knew from that there's gonna be a massive earthquake, and then there's other people who confirm receiving the same thing through visions and like that. So I know that there's going to be an earthquake, but it's so funny, just like 3 days ago, that something just led me to write that I knew it wasn't me. And then within 24 hours, there was an earthquake. So I was like, look at that. Okay, this is confirmation to what God was showing me, I feel, so that's why I'm sharing it. So yeah, so I just wanted to share those dreams with you. Hopefully, it'll lead someone to Christ. And there's a lot of people who don't believe in this thing, But when the rapture takes place, the reason why I share all of these is because when this thing take place, people will see that there were people actually saying this would happen. There were people who God allowed to see these things so that they would believe that it is God, that we weren't missing because of an alien deception or whatever the government is going to try to cover it up with, or whatever. But they will know that this was God, and there were people who were saying that this thing was going to happen for so long. There were people who were begging, everyone to believe, who risked their reputation, risked their name, and give it all up so that they would believe. So if you don't believe now, when the rapture does take place, I hope that you will see that Jesus Christ is Lord and that every word that we've been sharing about Jesus is true, so don't take the mark of the beast. And you will have to go through a lot of difficult times. It will be a difficult period, but if you give your life, if you trade your life for God, don't take the mark of the beast, and you will make it. You will see God, So, yeah, I hope this blesses someone, and thank you for listening. Stay blessed.